Welcome to Shadowland's Ghosts, where the lines between reality and nightmare are blurred, and the darkness that lurks within the shadows whispers secrets to those brave enough to listen. I'm your host, Raven Blackwood, and I'm thrilled to have you join me on this journey into the heart of terror. As we settle into the comfort of our daily lives, it's easy to forget that the ordinary can quickly turn into the unknown. The familiar walls that shelter us from the world outside can sometimes hide secrets of their own. And it's in these hidden spaces that terrors beyond our imagination wait to strike. Imagine, if you will, a group of friends, full of hope and excitement, as they move into a new home. The house is perfect, spacious, beautiful, and full of promise. But as they begin to settle in, they stumble upon something that wasn't in the blueprints, a hidden room that seems to have been locked away for years. What secrets does it hold? And what horrors will they unleash when they dare to enter? Join me as we delve into the story of this group of friends, told from the perspective of one of them, who will take you through the twists and turns of their terrifying journey. To be a part of this journey, and to experience the horrors that await, be sure to subscribe to Shadowland's Ghosts. You'll become part of our family, and together, we'll explore the darkest corners of the unknown. So, sit back, get comfortable, and let the shadows begin to whisper their secrets in your ear. As I stepped into our new home, I couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. My friends and I had been searching for the perfect place to rent for months, and finally, we had found it. The house was spacious, with high ceilings and large windows that let in an abundance of natural light. The neighborhood was quiet and friendly, with a small park just a block away. It was the perfect place for us to start our new chapter together. We spent the first few days unpacking and settling in, trying to make the house feel like home. My friends, Alex, Emily, and Matt, were all excited to explore our new surroundings, and we spent hours wandering around the neighborhood, getting to know the local shops and restaurants. But as the days went by, I started to notice small things that didn't quite add up. Doors creaked open by themselves, and the floorboards seemed to groan and sigh at night. I wrote it off as the typical settling of an old house, but deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. It was on our fifth night in the house that we stumbled upon the hidden room. We were exploring the attic, looking for a place to store our luggage, when we found a strange-looking door that seemed out of place. It was hidden behind a stack of old trunks and boxes, and it looked like it hadn't been opened in years. The door was small, with a peculiar symbol etched into the wood. I felt a shiver run down my spine as I reached out to touch it, but Alex, ever the curious one, pushed the door open before I could stop him. The room was small, with walls that seemed to press in on us from all sides. The air was stale and musty, and I could feel a strange, heavy energy emanating from the space. It was as if the room had been locked away for years, waiting for us to discover it. I felt a sense of unease as I looked around, taking in the strange symbols etched into the walls. They seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy, making my skin crawl. "What is this place?" Emily whispered, her voice barely audible. I shook my head, unsure of what to say. We had been told that the house was built in the 1920s, but this room seemed older, as if it had been here long before the rest of the house was constructed. As we stood there, frozen in uncertainty, I couldn't shake the feeling that we had stumbled upon something that was meant to remain hidden. And as we turned to leave, I caught a glimpse of something out of the corner of my eye, a shadowy figure, lurking just beyond the edge of perception. I spun around, but there was no one there. Or so I thought. I tried to brush it off as my imagination, but the feeling of being watched stayed with me long after we left the room. It was as if we had uncovered a secret that was meant to remain hidden, and now we were being watched, waiting to see what we would do next. Little did we know, our journey into the heart of terror was only just beginning. The days that followed our discovery of the hidden room were marked by an eerie sense of unease. It started with small things, a misplaced item here, a faint noise there, but soon escalated into a series of unexplained events that left us all on edge. I would wake up in the middle of the night to the sound of footsteps outside my room, only to find no one there when I got up to investigate. Emily reported finding strange symbols etched into the walls of the bathroom, identical to the ones we had found in the hidden room. Matt began to experience vivid, disturbing dreams that left him shaken and unsettled. As the occurrences grew more frequent and intense, I couldn't shake the feeling that the house was exerting some kind of influence over us. It was as if it was slowly, insidiously manipulating our perceptions and our emotions. I started to feel like I was losing my grip on reality, and I wasn't alone. My friends were all experiencing similar sensations, and we began to withdraw from each other, each of us trapped in our own private hell. One night, I woke up to the sound of whispering voices. They were soft and raspy, and seemed to be coming from all around me. I sat up in bed, my heart racing, and listened intently. The voices were speaking in a language I couldn't understand, but the tone was unmistakable, malevolent, menacing, and utterly chilling. I threw off the covers and got out of bed, determined to find the source of the voices. But as I walked through the darkened house, I realized that the whispers were everywhere. They seemed to be coming from the walls themselves, echoing through the rooms like a malignant presence. I stumbled back to my bed, my skin crawling with unease. As I lay there, I felt a presence in the room, watching me, waiting for me to make a move. I knew that I wasn't alone, and that whatever was in the house with us was closing in. The next morning, I gathered my friends in the living room, determined to confront the issue head-on. We had to talk about what was happening, and we had to figure out a way to stop it. But as we sat there, trying to make sense of the chaos that was unfolding around us, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were running out of time. It was then that I noticed something strange. A small, antique clock on the mantelpiece was ticking away, its rhythmic pulse seeming to grow louder and more insistent by the second. I felt a shiver run down my spine as I realized that the clock was moving backwards, its hands spinning counterclockwise in a maddening dance. "What's going on?" Emily whispered, her eyes fixed on the clock in horror. I shook my head, unsure of what to say. But as I looked around the room, I knew that we were in the grip of something ancient and malevolent, something that was determined to consume us all. And as the clock continued to tick away, its pulse growing stronger and more insistent, I knew that our journey into the heart of terror was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. The air in the room seemed to thicken, the shadows deepening as the clock's pulsing rhythm grew more intense. The whispers I had heard the night before began to echo through my mind, the malevolent presence closing in around us. I felt my heart racing, my breath catching in my throat as I turned to my friends. "It's not just the house," I whispered, my voice barely audible over the ticking of the clock. "It's not just the room. It's time itself that's against us." Matt's eyes widened in horror as he realized the true nature of the horror we were facing. "The clock," he whispered, his voice trembling. "It's not just moving backwards. It's unraveling time itself." Emily's face went pale as the implication sank in. "We're not just being haunted," she whispered. "We're being pulled into a different dimension. A dimension where time has no meaning." As she spoke, the clock's ticking grew louder, the room around us beginning to distort and ripple. The whispers in my mind grew clearer, the words becoming audible. "You should not have come here," the voices hissed. "You should not have meddled with forces beyond your understanding." I felt a presence behind me and turned to see a figure standing in the doorway. Its face was twisted and distorted, the eyes glowing with an otherworldly energy. "You will never leave this place," the figure hissed, its voice like the ticking of the clock. "You will be trapped here forever, lost in a labyrinth of time." As the figure began to move towards us, the clock's ticking reached a fever pitch. The room around us began to dissolve, the walls melting away into a swirling vortex of colors and sounds. I knew then that we were doomed. We were trapped in a living nightmare, with no escape from the horror that surrounded us. The clock had become a countdown to our destruction, and we were running out of time. The figure loomed over us, its eyes blazing with an otherworldly energy. I felt my mind begin to unravel, my grip on reality slipping away. And then everything went black. When I came to, I was lying on the floor, my head throbbing with pain. The room was quiet, the clocks ticking silenced. But as I looked around, I knew that we were not alone. The figure was still there, watching us, waiting for us to make our next move. The horror was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. As I struggled to my feet, the room seemed to spin around me, the silence deafening after the cacophony of sounds that had filled my mind. I looked around, trying to take in everything at once. The clock was still, its face frozen in time. The walls were back in place, the colors and sounds of the vortex gone. But the figure was still there, watching us with an unblinking gaze. I knew then that we had to get out of there, to escape the clutches of the horror that had consumed us. But as I turned to my friends, I saw that they were frozen in place, their eyes wide with fear. "Matt," I whispered, trying to snap him out of his trance. "Emily, we have to get out of here. Now." But they didn't move. They were trapped, unable to break free from the grip of the horror that had taken hold of them. I knew then that I was on my own. I had to face the horror head on, to confront the figure and shatter the spell that held my friends captive. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for what was to come. And then I began to move towards the figure, my heart pounding in my chest. As I drew closer, the figure didn't move. It just watched me, its eyes blazing with an otherworldly energy. I could feel its power washing over me, trying to break my will and shatter my resolve. But I refused to back down. I knew that I had to confront the horror, to face my fears and overcome them. I reached out a hand, trying to touch the figure. But as I did, it reached out and grasped my wrist, its grip like a vice. "You should not have come here," it hissed, its voice like the ticking of the clock. "You will never leave this place." I tried to pull away, but the figure held me fast. I was trapped, unable to escape the horror that had consumed me. And then everything went black. But this time I didn't come to. I was trapped in a never-ending nightmare, tormented by the figure and the clock's incessant ticking. I was lost in a labyrinth of time, forever trapped in a living hell of my own making. The clock's final tick echoed through my mind, a countdown to my destruction. And then there was nothing. But even in the darkness, I knew that the horror was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. The clock's ticking had stopped, but the nightmare would continue, forever trapped in my mind. I was consumed by the horror, forever lost in a world of terror and despair. The figure's final words echoed through my mind, a haunting reminder of the horror that I had faced. You will never leave this place. And I knew that I never would. The horror had won, and I was forever trapped in its grasp. The clock had become a countdown to my destruction, and I was running out of time. But even in the end, I knew that the horror would never truly be over. It would continue to haunt me, forever trapped in my mind. And I would never be free. As I slowly opened my eyes, I found myself back in the room, but everything seemed different. The clock was still, its face frozen in time, and the walls were back in place, but I knew that I was not alone. The figure was still there, watching me with an unblinking gaze. I tried to move, but my body felt heavy, as if it was weighed down by an unseen force. I was trapped, unable to escape the clutches of the horror that had consumed me. The figure began to move towards me, its eyes blazing with an otherworldly energy. I could feel its power washing over me, trying to break my will and shatter my resolve. But I refused to back down. I knew that I had to confront the horror, to face my fears and overcome them. I tried to speak, but my voice was barely a whisper. The figure loomed over me, its presence suffocating. I felt its cold breath on my skin, and I knew that I was running out of time. Suddenly, the clock's ticking started again, a countdown to my destruction. I knew that I had to act fast, to escape the horror that had consumed me. But as I tried to move, I realized that I was not in control of my body. The figure was manipulating me, using me to further its own twisted agenda. I was trapped in a living hell of my own making, forever lost in a labyrinth of time. The clock's ticking was the only sound I could hear, a constant reminder of the horror that I had faced. And then I saw my friends, Matt and Emily, standing in the doorway, their eyes wide with fear. They were trying to reach me, to save me from the clutches of the horror that had consumed me. But it was too late. The figure had already won, and I was forever trapped in its grasp. I was consumed by the horror, forever lost in a world of terror and despair. As my friends watched in horror, the figure reached out and grasped my wrist, its grip like a vice. I was trapped, unable to escape the horror that had consumed me. And then everything went black. But this time I didn't come to. I was trapped in a never-ending nightmare, tormented by the figure and the clock's incessant ticking. The clock's final tick echoed through my mind, a countdown to my destruction. And then there was nothing. But even in the darkness, I knew that the horror was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. The clock's ticking had stopped, but the nightmare would continue, forever trapped in my mind. I was consumed by the horror, forever lost in a world of terror and despair. The figure's final words echoed through my mind, a haunting reminder of the horror that I had faced. You will never leave this place. And I knew that I never would. The horror had won, and I was forever trapped in its grasp. The clock had become a countdown to my destruction, and I was running out of time. But even in the end, I knew that the horror would never truly be over. It would continue to haunt me, forever trapped in my mind. And I would never be free. Years later, Matt and Emily would tell the story of how I had disappeared, of how I had been consumed by the horror that had haunted that room. They would speak of the clock's ticking, of the figure's unblinking gaze, and of the terror that I had faced. But they would never speak of what had happened to me after that. They would never speak of the horror that I had become. For in the end, I was not just a victim of the horror. I was the horror itself. And I would haunt that room forever, trapped in a living hell of my own making. Epilogue: The Echoes of Time. Years have passed since that fateful day when I vanished into the depths of the room. Matt and Emily have long since moved on, but the memories of that day still linger in their minds. They often wonder what became of me, but the truth is too terrible to speak of. The room remains a testament to the horror that I faced. The clock's ticking has stopped, but the echoes of time still resonate within its walls. The figure may be gone, but its presence still lingers, a malevolent force that haunts the very fabric of reality. I am the horror now, a shadow of my former self, forever trapped in this labyrinth of time. My mind is consumed by the echoes of the clock's ticking, a constant reminder of the terror that I faced. But I am not alone. There are others who have entered this room, seeking to uncover the secrets that lie within. They hear the whispers of the figure, the echoes of the clock's ticking, and they know that they are not alone. And then they see me, a shadowy figure, lurking in the corners of the room, watching and waiting. They try to flee, but it's too late. I am the guardian of this room, the keeper of its darkest secrets. And I will make sure that they never leave. The clock's ticking may have stopped, but the nightmare continues. And I am its master. In the darkness, I hear the whispers of the figure, its final words echoing through my mind. You will never leave this place. And I know that I never will. The horror may have won, but I am the one who has become the true monster. I am the keeper of the room, the guardian of its darkest secrets. And I will haunt this place forever, trapped in a living hell of my own making. The clock's final tick may have echoed through my mind, but the echoes of time will continue to haunt me forever. Thank you for watching the epilogue of The Echoes of Time. I hope this haunting tale has left you with a lasting impression, and you've enjoyed the journey through the labyrinth of time. As the clock's final tick has echoed through my mind, I want to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude for your support and engagement. I am thrilled to have been able to share this terrifying story with you, and I'm honored that you've chosen to spend your time with me. Your enthusiasm and interest in the series have been the driving force behind my creativity, and I'm grateful for every comment, like, and share. As we conclude this chapter, I invite you to join me on future adventures, where we'll delve into the unknown, explore the unexplained, and confront the darkness that lurks within. If you're ready to face the horrors that await us, I ask that you subscribe to this channel. By subscribing, you'll be the first to know when new content is released, and you'll gain access to exclusive updates, behind-the-scenes insights, and more. Your support will enable me to continue creating the kind of content that you've come to expect from me. Thought-provoking, spine-tingling, and unforgettable. So, if you're ready to embark on a journey through the shadows, click the subscribe button below and join me on this thrilling adventure. Together, we'll explore the unknown and uncover the secrets that lie within. Once again, thank you for watching the epilogue, The Echoes of Time. I look forward to seeing you in the next chapter of our journey. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and let's venture into the darkness together. And as the figure would say, you will never leave this place. But before I bid you farewell, I want to extend an invitation to you to join me on more thrilling adventures in the future. If you enjoyed this journey and can't get enough of the thrills and chills, I invite you to subscribe to my channel for more content that will keep you on the edge of your seat. By subscribing, you'll get access to exclusive content, behind-the-scenes insights, and a front-row seat to all my future projects. You'll be the first to know when new episodes are released, and you'll get to be a part of a community that shares your passion for the unknown and the unexplained. So, what are you waiting for? Click that subscribe button now and join me on this journey into the heart of darkness. Together, we'll uncover the secrets that lie within the shadows, and we'll face the horrors that lurk within. Don't wait any longer. Hit that subscribe button and join the conversation. I'll see you in the next episode, and who knows, maybe we'll uncover a new mystery that will haunt us forever. Thank you again for watching, and I look forward to sharing more thrilling adventures with you in the future. Subscribe now button. Click the link to subscribe and join the community. Your channel link. See you in the next episode.